and welcome to another episode of What Travis Says, the only show on YouTube that bothers to ask the difficult questions like, why do so many people love Rose as a companion? Seriously. But this video isn't entirely about Rose. It was actually brought on because of the recent surge of comments that I've been getting on my videos saying, what about Jack? What about Jack? When talking about Bill. Brushing off all the reasons why Bill and Jack just can't be a good comparison because how drastically different they are. The comments about Jack being a companion actually got me thinking, at what point does a supporting character in the show Doctor Who become a companion? Let's start with Jack. He traveled with the Doctor for a bit, he became immortal-ish, and then the Doctor sort of ditched him because he saw him as a fixed point in time. Seasonal companions are invited by the Doctor to come along on the TARDIS under a trial period which usually lasts between a season to a couple seasons. And generally the Doctor invites someone along to become his companion. It doesn't just happen. But with Jack, the Doctor took him because his ship was about to explode, he saved him, and there wasn't really any other option than go along on the TARDIS. But does that mean that Jack is any less companion than, say, Rose? But what does the term companion actually mean? Surprisingly enough, we in the fandom actually use that term way more than they do in the main series. And in Classic Who, the title is sometimes referred to as assistant, but even then it was hardly used. Big Finish Productions has something called the Companion Chronicles, which focuses on the adventures from the perspective of the assistant. And Doctor Who magazine will use the term companion, like when they announced that Jenna Louise Coleman was coming aboard the TARDIS. And the Doctor himself will just refer to them as his friends or his assistants, but even then it's really murky on what that actually means. The fact that the term isn't used that much in the show means there's not really a clear in-universe definition of companion. Speaking of Clara, did you know that she holds the record for the highest number of stories featuring any companion in the series ever? Clara Oswald appeared in 30 full-length television stories from 2012 to 2015. Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting. Back to the topic at hand. So when does a supporting character actually become a companion? Can they travel once in the TARDIS? Do they have to travel at least 5 times? Do they just have to assist the Doctor in some way? Okay, so what if a companion is someone who travels on the TARDIS at least once? That leaves a pretty wide spectrum, but let's just start there. Rose, Martha, Donna, these are companions, no question. But then you get to characters like Jack, or Mickey, or Adam. Stupid Adam. By the traveling in the TARDIS at least one time definition, Vincent van Gogh would be a companion. But then if they have to travel in the TARDIS at least once, then Liz would not be a companion, even though she assisted the third Doctor for an entire season. She was the Doctor's lab assistant while he was exiled on Earth, and sure, she traveled in the TARDIS later, but is that when she became a companion? She wasn't a companion while she was his lab assistant? Some say that a companion would be someone who just knows information about the Doctor, who he is, where he's from, that he's an alien, etc. And that sounds a lot like Craig. Remember Craig from The Lodger? The Doctor does this Gallifreyan mind meld thing and transfers a lot of information from his head into Craig's mind. Craig has never traveled through time, but he probably knows enough about how to fly the TARDIS. Sally Sparrow helps the Doctor, but it's very unconventional because she never travels in the TARDIS and she doesn't even meet the Doctor until the end of her episode. Wilf traveled in the TARDIS, but he never traveled through time, but I know a lot of people consider Wilf a companion because he assisted the Doctor a lot during that whole Master Story arc. Okay, so a companion can just be someone who just helps the Doctor? Well, what about Jenny, his clone daughter? Or even better yet, what about Susan? No, I don't believe that the Doctor would refer to Susan as his companion or his assistant. That's his granddaughter. But we, as viewers, would look at Susan as a companion. And what about Jackie Tyler? She's traveled in the TARDIS, she's been in multiple stories, and she even helped the Doctor. Is she a companion? Or is the companion just a character that can help progress the story? A character that viewers can look through as a lens into that world. The companion is a great tool because it's the median between the Doctor and the viewer. We are able to understand what's going on because we are looking through the companion's eyes. But in that case, I think that Jack might be off the table because he's from another world in the future. And we, as audience members, still need a companion present to help understand some of the interactions between Jack and the Doctor. What about a companion is only an actual companion if they get a title credit in the beginning of the show? Well, the only supporting character to get title credits for the first 2 seasons of New Who was Billie Piper, so Sorry, John Barrowman, this one doesn't really apply to you either. John Barrowman didn't get a title credit until his return in the 3rd season. What about longevity on the show? Does a character have to be there for X number of adventures to be considered a companion? Sarah Jane Smith was definitely a companion, and she even returned to the show to help the Doctor again. And then again. Remember Canton Everett Delaware III? He was with the Doctor for 3 months. He traveled in the TARDIS, and then he encountered the Doctor on Lake Silencio 40 years later. And even though it only took 2 episodes to show all of that, is he not a companion? And now the elephant in the room, River Song. Is she a companion? She definitely has a relationship with the Doctor. She's been in the TARDIS, traveled in the past and the future. She's even flown the TARDIS. But she doesn't ever have any subsequent stories. She just bumps into the Doctor from time to time. There are hundreds of characters in Doctor Who, from the television episodes, the comic books, the literature, that have companion-like roles with the Doctor. So where do we draw the line? What makes a Doctor Who companion? All this confusion because the show doesn't draw a definitive definition on what a companion actually is. For me personally, Jack is the gray area. Anything less than Jack, they're probably not a companion. Anything more than Jack, I would probably consider them a companion. But before I end the video, let's not forget the greatest Doctor Who companion of all time, Idris from The Doctor's Wife. Technically the TARDIS, I mean it was a beautiful episode, and the TARDIS has always been the most consistent companion to the Doctor. Take that, Clara Oswald. In the comments down below, let me know your definitions for a Doctor Who companion. If you believe that any of the people that I mentioned are companions or are not companions, and if you have a definitive definition for what you think a companion needs to be. As always, my name is Travis. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and you will see me on Monday.